It's another day, the sun is shining. Got to know what's going on around you. Wake up, it's the time to motivate your mind. Come with me, let's make this moment brighter. Wake up with the Bahamas at sunrise. Come on and wake up with the Bahamas at sunrise. Wake up with the Bahamas at sunrise. Wake up with the Bahamas at sunrise. Hey.
Good morning and welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise on what I think is National T-shirt Day. I sure hope it is. Phil and I are certainly dressed for it. I'm Anastasia Palatial.
Good morning, TGIF to you. I'm Philip Simon.
Yeah, I think it's National Pride Day, Phil. I probably should have Googled that before we came on. I will admit it. But given that the country celebrates its 48th year of independence tomorrow, we certainly addressed appropriately, whether it's National Pride Day or not, as in celebration of 48 years of sovereign, of self-rule, that is, of self-rule and our ability to make decisions for a better nation.
Yes, now we growing up, right? We're getting a little older, we're growing up, we're still going through some of these growing pains, but listen, today, tomorrow, all weekend long, I'm just so proud to be Bahamian. I know there's a lot of conversation out there regarding the celebrations and all the rest of that stuff and, pride. You don't see as many flags on the street, but I'm telling you what, I am one proud Bahamian dude.
Certainly, Phil, certainly. Anybody who was up last night, and then this is why it's a struggle to do the show this morning, but anybody up last night watching Roy Singleman compete in the Scripps National Spelling Bee, first Bahamian to ever make it to the finals. Roy, of course, getting 3 rounds in before he was eliminated, making that top 6 there. I think he tied for 4th place, Phil. So incredibly proud of Roy. And then simultaneously watching DeAndre Ayton and the Suns, Phil, I finally caught a game, win and take victory over the Milwaukee Bucks last night. You felt proud to be Bahamian all over again.
No doubt, man. Watching DeAndre in those post-game news conferences, man, he's wearing his big chain, shouting out to the 242. And then, of course, so happy you mentioned it. I was trying to remember the word that he misspelled, and you could just feel the pain in that head judge trying to, having to tell him that, oh man, Roy, they really took to him. Obviously, the entire competition took to him, took to the Bahamas. So proud to see his mom and dad and sister. They got that big Bahamian flag up there.
Huge flag,
242 to the world. It was just a really great thing. And I really hope we celebrate this young man when he comes back. Of course, he was on Bahamas at Sunrise before he went last year. So again, also very proud of him. Very, very proud also of DeAndre doing his thing over there. Just roughing people up in the paint.
Yeah, indeed. And I will tell you, I was devastated when Roy lost. I'm a bit dramatic, Phil, so I took this really hard, right? But I will tell you that I was also incredibly proud of the young lady that did win. Essence magazine, etc., reporting as the first African American to win. Certainly a Black woman had won in '98 from Jamaica, and she was the first champion at that point, and this has been the first one since. And so to just see this confident young lady, I think she's all of maybe 13 or 14, and she's like, I don't know if I want to be a WNBA coach or a NASA scientist. And I'm just like, girl, you better get it, right? Either one for you is a victory. And she was just so much energy and so much fun to watch, even after Roy had lost and I was disappointed, really celebrating her today and the achievement of her. And the best thing for me, Phil, was seeing her father supporting her. That was the person that was there with her. And so to see that the beauty of that moment for me was also a great one. So going into this weekend, incredibly excited about 48 years of independence and feeling really happy and really proud of our young people, not just here in the Bahamas, but around the world, who continue to just shine the light of goodness and the discipline and determination and dedication.
Yeah, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. I mean, before the show started, we were also talking, what an interesting week. I mean, we say it all the time, so many things happen. You have the highest of highs. And then, of course, this week you had, the lowest of lows with the assassination of the Haitian president and what's going on in that country. Yet again, our brothers and sisters, family, man. I mean, no matter what people say, we're just so closely connected. And, just want to, continue to keep them in our prayers.
Yeah, no, Phil, that was some news to wake up to the morning that I saw the messages come in. And, you know, Haiti is so rich in history, right? And because of them, we are, seriously. And the fact that they were so willing to do what it took to become an independent nation at the time that they did. And they've certainly paid the price for it for many years with the global powers that be. Let's make it very clear that this is not some people who have not determined to rule themselves as much as they've had systems set against them so that they could not rule effectively. And so we continue to pray for them. We continue to want to create partnerships and create dialogue that allows for them to thrive, because they really set the pace for us to be an independent nation today when they fought those chains of slavery so many years ago. And so certainly devastating times. Happy to see that the men responsible have been arrested. And now we hope for justice at the international level for a country that really has seen too much pain over the years.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Well, no doubt. But listen, we're here on Bahamas at Sunrise doing our thing once again. Want to send a special shout out, happy birthday. I think it was yesterday, to Erica Morris. You know, she's doing her thing, going through some challenges right now, but just keeping the faith. Erica, happy birthday. I think she also turned 48. And Chelly, we haven't seen Chelly in a while. He tried to slip this birthday. He's really quiet with these things, but I saw you on Facebook. Happy birthday, Chelly, as well.
And of course, my sister Ambrosine celebrated yesterday. So a very happy birthday to you, Ambi. And today, her husband, my brother-in-law, Dr. Bentley Higgs, celebrates his birthday. Wow. And so we celebrate you today, Dr. B, wishing you guys both wonderful birthdays and continuous joyous celebrations. As we get into our show for the day, it is certainly a full one, and we're looking forward to all of it, Phil.
Interesting topics we're going to be covering today. Dr. Wesley Francis is here to talk about sarcoma, and Mike Sands is back, and he'll talk about the NACAC's athletic tour plan for next year.
We're also going to talk with ROFX. They're going to join us to talk about crowdfunding. And I had the greatest pleasure, I really did, of speaking with the Honorable George Smith, one of the signatories of the Bahamas Constitution. That interview ran quite a bit. And so I think we're going to have several segments of it. And I will be honest, Phil, I still was not done with the questions that I wanted to ask, but we had to cut because the show is not all about us talking for an hour, right? And so I'm looking forward to the first part of that interview that happens this morning. But all of this and more, we're going to do it all as we learn what the weather's going to look like for this Independence weekend. That storm is still traveling out there, so it's going to be interesting to find out how that's going to impact us here. Here is Godfrey Burnside with our first look at weather.
Weather at Sunrise, brought to you by Bahamas First. What's first for you comes first for us.
Thank you, Star, and good morning, Bahamas. In your first look at weather at sunrise, high pressure down at the beach across the islands. Wow, some Sahara dust is filtering across the islands and bringing stability to the islands over the next couple of days. Today, lovely day, mostly sunny, hot, hazy, and humid, and there's a chance of a few afternoon showers, even a possible thunderstorm. High temperature 90 degrees Fahrenheit, your heat index 104. Tonight, another warm and muggy one, chance of a few passing showers, your low going down to 76 degrees Fahrenheit. And some region highs and lows across the Caribbean, Barbados 83 and 79. In Jamaica, 87 and 72. In Trinidad, 82 and 76. And the Turks and Caicos Islands, 89 and 76. Across North America, Atlanta, 84 and 72. In Raleigh, 88 and 72. In Miami, 89 and 79. Dallas, Texas, 87 and 76. And Toronto, Canada, 69 and 63. As we go to the weekend, pretty good, nice weekend so weather-wise. Looking at partly sunny, hot and humid through Sunday. We do expect a mid to upper level trough to move into the area, and that will increase our showers and thunderstorm activity late Sunday night into Monday, even as far as Tuesday across the islands. Those temperature daytime will be around the 90-degree mark, at nighttime in the mid-70s. That puts her up on your first look at the weather at sunrise. I'm glad to go inside. Back to you, Phil.
Thank you very much, Godfrey. Enjoy your weekend, sir. Listen, we've got Dr. Wesley Francis back. He's a general and oncology surgeon at Doctors Hospital Health System. Always a pleasure to have him on. This morning, we're talking about sarcomas, and sarcomas are cancers that develop from bones or soft tissues. Doc, welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise. Happy Independence, my friend.
Hey, happy Independence. Thanks. It's always a pleasure to be on the show with you guys.
Yeah, man. And you got the tie on a Friday, man. What's going on with that?
And, you know, I got to look good on the show.
So listen, this is another one of those topics, sarcoma. You may not hear it as often, but what is it? Is it a common type of occurrence in the human body, or a type of cancer?
No, sarcomas are very rare. Actually, it probably makes up about 1% of all the tumors that we see, malignant tumors, that is. And sarcomas are different from the regular sort of cancers. I tend to use the house analogy to describe it. The regular cancers are like the interior, and the sarcomas are like the exterior, the walls, the support structures. So sarcomas grow from muscle, bone, they grow from blood vessels, and they can occur anywhere in the body. And that's the thing about them. Even though they can occur anywhere, they more commonly arise within the extremities, either the lower or upper extremities, the trunk area, and then the area that we call the retroperitoneum. They're very, very rare. We probably see about maybe 5-6 sarcomas a year that we have to deal with.
What causes it? I mean, if it's that rare, is it genetic? Is there
And that's a very good question. I mean, most people would say that the causative factors that lead to sarcomas, one, radiation is something that we know for a fact, and it's usually a latency period, somewhat up to 10, 15 years after radiation is dose dependent. And also then is genetics. Genetics play an important role in development of sarcomas, and also some occupational, like if you come in contact with certain chemicals, they can lead also to sarcomas. But again, it's a very rare type of tumor, very difficult to treat. But certainly, I mean, I'm happy that they're very rare.
Yeah. So if it's difficult to treat, how do you even begin to know if you've got it?
Well, the thing about sarcomas is that when it occurs as a growth. So I would say anyone, if you feel or notice a growth on your body, you got to check it out. And sometimes, sarcomas are a spectrum. They go from benign to malignant, actually benign, intermediate, and malignant. And the benign ones are sometimes just a little small, kind of what we call a lipoma. That's benign, doesn't cause any problems. Then the intermediate ones, they tend to grow. Those intermediate ones tend not to spread. And what they do is they grow and grow and grow, and they only affect the area where it is. It compresses the tissue, and that's what causes symptoms. Yeah. And then you have the malignant ones that tend to be very aggressive and spread very early. Mm-hmm. And so if you catch them early, just like anything, if you catch it early enough, then you can actually treat it. And again, the treatment that it involves mainly surgery, but right. It has to be multimodal. We need, even though radiation can cause it, radiation is an important part of treatment of sarcomas.
So what does it look like? I know you had some slides you wanted to share.
Yeah, I could show you a quick picture. For example, this is different names. So this is from bone, where we get sarcomas that arise from bone. I actually have a picture. This is a picture of a patient. It's the groin area. So this is the big lump that's associated with it. This patient just presented with a lump in the groin area, and you can see it there. It's deformed. This patient has a massive, large lump on the buttocks. And this guy here presented with, a lump in his thigh. And you can see, I mean, you don't have to be a doctor to notice that this is a big abnormal area right here. This is the bone. the dark area is a muscle, and this large white area is a mass that is growing within the muscle itself. And that's really how sarcomas grow. They tend to grow large and they compress. And the compression is what caused the symptoms. And yeah.
So is it as simple as, once it's been detected, is it as simple as just going in there and just removing it? Or, does it spread like literally within the bones?
So what you have to do, first of all, we got to stage it, right? You have to biopsy it so that you could know exactly what type it is. And sarcomas come in two types. They come in low grade and high grade. The low grade ones are very indolent. Those surgery alone would cure those. But the high grade ones those are the ones that spread. And if you have a high grade sarcoma, then that's when surgery is needed, radiation is needed, and sometimes chemotherapy. But most of the time, sarcomas are not chemosensitive. So chemotherapy is not really used that much in sarcomas. Although nowadays, because of what we call precision medicine and testing the genetics of the tumors, again, you find certain drugs that would treat them. But in general, chemotherapy is not used in sarcomas.
Oh, okay.
Mostly surgery and radiation.
All right. So the message then, quite simply, is if you feel an abnormality, or even if you see it,
get it checked out.
Get it checked out. Okay, Doc.
Yeah.
One final question. So if it's detected early, like most things, I guess there's a higher recovery rate.
Yeah, so I mean, once you can remove it surgically, then I mean, the recovery basically depends on the anatomy where you move it from. Okay, right. So for example, if you have an extremity sarcoma and you remove that, there's usually little deformity that's left behind. But if you have a very large sarcoma, sometimes you end up having to do an amputation for people.
Okay.
But that's the kind of aggressive, treatment options.
Yeah, just remove it. Doc, listen, thank you so much. Always informative when you're here in Bahamas at Sunrise.
No problem, man. Thank you.
All right, great. Dr. Wesley Francis, General and Oncology Surgeon at Doctors Hospital Health System. You're watching Bahamas at Sunrise. We'll be right back.
First, it's more than just our name, more than just our achievements. It's our nature, and it's where we put our customers. At Bahamas First, we've refreshed our look, but our nature remains the same. We design insurance solutions that protect our customers from life's uncertainties. Whatever they may be, we equip you for the future so that you can recover stronger. Bahamas First, what's first for you comes first for us.
The Bahamas and the world has been waging the war against COVID-19 for over a year now. In that time, much of our daily life has been irreversibly changed by lockdowns, job losses, and deaths in our families. As facial masking, hand sanitizing, and social distancing have become the new norm, the team at Doctors Hospital applauds the Bahamian public for doing your part to control and contain the spread of the COVID-19 virus. It is time to take the fight a step further. With the COVID-19 vaccine now available, we encourage Bahamians to continue the fight and do your part in getting vaccinated. Please continue to be vigilant, wear a mask, and social distance. For more information on the COVID-19 vaccine, visit www.doctorshosp.com. Doctors Hospital, trusted and best care now. Isn't your health worth it?
Since 1967, Freeport Oil Company Limited has been dedicated to fueling growth and prosperity in the Bahamas. We have been a constant pillar within the country, striving to invest and support our community through the best of times and the worst of times. For us, Full Call represents 21 years of strength and consistency, consistent leadership, consistent growth, consistent customer service. Through it all, we are resilient. Full Call, fueling growth for people.
Welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise. Well, as we celebrate 48 years of our country's independence, we are so delighted to sit down with the Honorable George Smith. Now, the Honorable George Smith was one of the signatories to the Bahamian Constitution and a former member of Parliament for Exuma and former member of Transport and Agricultural Fisheries, Local Government and Lands. We are so delighted to have this conversation this morning. Good morning, Mr. Smith, and welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise.
Good morning, ma'am. It's good to be in your company. I've heard so many nice things about you.
Well, thank you.
From your esteemed father-in-law, James Palacios, with whom I have shared many, many lunches and drinks together. You know, he's from Inagua and I'm from Exuma, and we Southern Island fellas, we get along well.
Indeed, indeed, indeed. Well, if you are in his company, then I'm sure this is going to be a great interview. He's got quite the character himself, and so that tells me a lot about you already.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
All right. So Mr. Smith, I really want, as we explore this conversation, to dig into a lot of things. I think for those of us born post-independence, many of us born even after 92, there's a lot of Bahamian history that seems to be missing from the conversation. We don't understand how many people might even have been opposed to independence. We don't understand what it took to get the Constitution to where it is, or even why there are challenges now to it. And so this is going to be a great educational opportunity, I think, for us to go down memory lane and to discover some more about what was happening around that time. So I want to go back to 72. And I want you, if you can, to explain your role in that 1972 London talks that led to the creation of a nation state and the culmination of independence.
Well, you mentioned the word history, and in it we have to admit as a people that Bahamians are a little more familiar with the history of other countries. We're a little more familiar at one point with the history of the British, the United Kingdom and its empire than we were of the events that took place in the Bahamas. Many Bahamians today are a little more up to date on what happened in the United States and and we quote American rhetoric so constantly, we lose sight of the fact that the Bahamas has a tremendously rich history, and is a history of a people that were, first of all, when the Europeans arrived here, they displaced the Indians who they met here, who had come up, 5 from Peru and other South American countries, over 500 years before Columbus arrived, and they had settled on Providence and Grand Bahama, Long Island, and many of the other islands. And when Columbus arrived, he met a population of well over 400,000 people. And they were dispersed on, as I said, many islands. And it's ironic that today we say the population of Bahamas is in the vicinity of 400,000 plus. And when you see how those people were rounded up, they became victims of diseases that hitherto they had no knowledge of, no way of combating, and how many of them died in salt mines in Haiti. And now eventually they were displaced by slaves who were brought here under the pretext of wanting to do farming on a number of our islands, most principally Eleuthera, what we call the islands where we thought cotton could grow, Eleuthera, Long Island, Exuma, Cat Island. And their experience, the enslaved experience, was horrific. People were killed willy-nilly by the slave masters and by the British garrison that was placed on various islands to keep order. And the stories are there. And they're interesting stories of courage. Some Bahamians know of a great freedom fighter, the man that I refer to very proudly as the first historic hero of the Bahamas and the first national hero, Pompey, who came from the island of Exuma. And his story is that of courage, that of of leadership that herald the British government recognizing and giving in to some of the demands he made by not taking slaves from Exuma over to Cat Island to work on the various plantations on Cat Island from the plantations which were supposed to have been, but never really materialized on Exuma.
Mm-hmm.
And then the struggle for vote. At one point, only the British people of British origin and some of the whites that left the United States and settled in the Bahamas, only they had the right to vote, provided their own property.
Mm-hmm.
So in point of fact, it started off with property owners who happened to be male, who happened to be white,
mm-hmm.
could vote in the Bahamas, and how that grew to men of color who had come here, freed men of color who had come here after the revolution in Haiti.
Mm-hmm.
So then you looked at the progress made and the progress of the women, Mary Ingram and Doris Johnson and many other women, to fight for the right for women to vote.
Mm-hmm.
And how we eked out a majority government in '67.
Mm-hmm.
But then in 1968 we accomplished something that was, I think, one of the major accomplishments. That was the first time in the history of the Bahamas where every person over the age of 21, by the efforts of those people I mentioned previously,
mm-hmm.
got one man, one vote. Because even in 1967, the voter in New Providence could vote for one candidate. The voter in Abaco, in two parts of Abaco, each part could vote for three candidates.
Wow.
In Naughty Lutra, they had three representatives in Naughty Lutra and three representatives in the other part of Lutra. Each person could vote three times.
Wow.
So his vote count for three times,
mm-hmm.
when the man in New Providence, Andros, in Exuma, the man could vote for two votes,
mm-hmm.
two persons. So,
mm-hmm.
but 1968 we accomplished one man, one vote.
Mm-hmm.
The struggle was never easy, but struggles are never intended to be easy.
Mm-hmm.
Anything worth having is worth fighting for, making great sacrifices for, and we today in this country are fortunate
mm-hmm.
in that we have a history, if we learn it, if we understand it, about the nobility of our people, the courage of our people. There's a monument right across from Clifford Park where there's a little monument to the courage of 4 Bahamians who a ship had gone down beyond the bar,
mm-hmm.
that's beyond the entrance into the harbor. And these men, very ordinary fellas,
mm-hmm.
swam out there to save people.
Mm-hmm.
The people who were saved and the incident that led to the sinking of the vessel is known.
Mm-hmm.
The heroics of the 4 Bahamians is just barely known. It wasn't for the admiration of those men by Sir Arthur Folkes, distinguished Bahamian former Governor General, that monument probably wouldn't have been erected.
Right.
So if we Bahamians study our past, and the information is all over the place, but it's here,
mm-hmm.
and discover how noble our people were, how courageous they were, how they fought, how they died, how they sacrificed much, we have something to celebrate. And we must recognize that as the great Jamaican historian and first hero of Jamaica, Marcus Garvey, said, if you don't know your history, you are a lost people.
Mm-hmm.
And we in the Bahamas don't even know some of our current events sufficiently.
Right.
We don't know, for instance, that of the 15 people who went to London, after a campaign that took up most of 72 and a general election where the issue was independence. And the party that I belong to, the Progressive Party, won the election decisively. The opposition under the leadership of a very distinguished Bahamian, Sir Kendall J.L. Isaacs, accepted very graciously the results of the election and joined in the discussion to prepare for the discussion in December of 72 with the British. And so in the early days of December 72, a delegation of 15 people, 11 from one side of the political divide and 4 from the other side, and the numbers are not as important as they may suggest, because all of the constitutional talks we had previously, the opposition was usually only held by 4 people, because there was a constitutional talk in 64, 69, so we had some backdrop to point out. And we went over there and we got along well, and we tackled with the British dicey issue of people who had shown up here over the years, registered Government House, saying they want to maintain their British citizenship and continue to reside in the Bahamas, even though they were not in the Bahamas at the time. But we ironed it out, and so by the end of the talks in December, we pretty much persuaded the British on certain issues. We were united as a delegation, and they eventually accepted opposition, and we came home just before Christmas of 72 and celebrated Christmas and New Year's, and then busily set out to prepare the nation for independence, which came later that year. This year, in a couple of days, we are going to embark on the 48th year of our existence as a sovereign state. I think it's a good time for Bahamians to reflect on our successes, our failures, our omissions, because we all know that we omitted to address some issues quite the way the population, and particularly women, would have preferred that we then looked at it. We didn't. We could now. So this is an opportunity for us to reflect on what we have accomplished the last 47 years and what we could do next year, which will be when we launch the 49th. And more importantly, how we are prepared when we enter the 50th year as a sovereign state. We should get all these things. We should address all these things, deal with them in such a way that it'll make women who have gender questions happy. It'll make my brothers who are the father of children born out of wedlock happy. And it'll deal with some of the other social issues. It'll deal with the issue of our being a secular state as opposed to being a Christian state. We are a secular state that treasure our Christian principles and values.
So that's an interesting one, and one that I'm sure that many people have different thoughts on, right? The Christian community, of course, wanting it to stay as it is, many people enjoying things as they are, and then the other parts of our population that have different beliefs, wanting to see those represented as such with maybe terminology like secular. What wisdom has been shared with us today. Fully grateful for this opportunity to conduct this interview. We're going to be back with more after this commercial break.
The sports we play depend on the health we build. So let's stay healthy. Wear a mask and practice social distancing and hand washing to protect yourself and others. Remember, COVID-19 is not a game.
A public service message from the Bahamas Olympic Committee.
One thing, two things, blue thing, all things, things that are small, things that are grand, things that fit just right, and in the palm of your hand. Fox Hill Nursery, a large selection of garden supplies. If you can see it in your mind, you can find it at Fox Hill Nursery.
Our world has changed. Many businesses have been closed for months with little or no access to their customers until now. Rev Media can help you remain connected to your customers. Our trusted customized advertising packages and personalized consultants will provide your business with immeasurable support during this challenging time. Your customers are already watching. Rev Media can help you to remain connected. Call us today. Let us help you.
Welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise. Thank you for staying with us as we get ready to celebrate 48 years of independence. I'm Anastasia Palacios.
I'm Philip Simon. 48 years of independence, but you know what? I'm just thanking God it's Friday.
Indeed, Phil, indeed. It's been a great show so far this morning. So much vital information about sarcomas there in our first segment, and then the opportunity to hear from one of the framers of the Constitution. I don't think we can underestimate how young we are, Phil, given that one of the framers of our Constitution is still with us.
Yeah. I think there are six.
There are
six of them still. You know, it's an opportunity, Star. And, you know, I'm just so glad, that you have it to be able to sit with him. So, I mean, everything is seemingly still right at the tip of his memory.
Yeah,
and there are others like that. So, we have to really maximize them while they're still here.
Indeed. And I think for me, I felt some passion be revived in that conversation with him yesterday. One, because he's still progressive. His thought process is still progressive. And that was only a part of a very long interview, as I indicated to you. But he still sees the nation for this great potential. He still has a great hope. And, he just pointed out some of the things the very simple things that we could do as citizenry and with our systems to make it better. And so I was really grateful for the opportunity, Phil, because it gave me a new spark to continue to celebrate and enjoy the country. Because sometimes that political process can be very discouraging, I think, and many of us have kind of gotten over it, if that's the right terminology. But hearing him chat again gave me a refreshed vision of what we could be, and so that was very exciting for me.
Yeah, and it's a living document, right? I mean, people always say, like Sue said before the show, what were they thinking? What was the frame of mind, when this was written or when that was written? Well, ask them, they're still here, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I know. And I think one of the things that we underestimate is their intentionality with creating certain things as they were, right? That you have to always remember the times in which things are written. And his point has always been that you never thought that it would stay the same, that they always hoped the country would evolve into a republic. But at the time, you were just trying to convince people to be independent. So you can't remove the queen and want independence all in one. It's a balancing act to get everybody to agree on something. Consensus does not happen easily. And so I just appreciated the knowledge yesterday. And of course, for all of you watching Bahamas at Sunrise, we hope to continue to share that knowledge with you as we continue the show and continue on, even beyond independence, because it's so important that we think bigger than the current moment.
Yeah, no doubt. Towards 50 we go. Listen, we've got more to go in our second half. Mike Sands is here to talk about the NACAC's 2022 athletic tour.
And we're also going to find out about new regulations impacting crowdfunding in the Bahamas. But now let's take a second look at weather with Godfrey Burnside.
Weather at Sunrise, brought to you by Bahamas First. What's first for you comes first for us.
Thank you, Star. Good morning, Bahamas. Yes, I can look at weather at sunrise to tropics. We're still talking tropical storm Elsa. At 5 a.m. this morning, Elsa was located near latitude 39.4 degrees north, longitude 74.3 degrees west, some 5 miles east of Atlantic City in New Jersey, moving northeast at 31 miles per hour. Those winds are now down to 50 miles per hour, so more weekend expected through the weekend. Elsewhere, tropical storm formation expected during the next 5 days. On local scene, high pressure down there, the feature across the island, while some Sahara dust filter, stabilizing conditions, so we have some stable conditions through Sunday. We expect a mid-top level trough to enhance our showers starting on late Sunday night into Monday. In the marine forecast today, winds southeast at 10 to 15 knots, sea 2 to 4 feet to northwest Bahamas, east to southeast at 15 knots, sea 2 to 5 feet for the central and southeastern islands. On Saturday, southeasterly at 10 to 15 knots, sea 2 to 4 feet northwest Bahamas, east to southeast at 10 to 15 knots, sea 2 to 4 feet central Bahamas, and east at 15 knots, sea 2 to 5 feet over the southeastern islands. On Saturday, across all the islands, east to southeast at 10 to 15 knots, sea 2 to 4 feet over the northwest and central Bahamas, 15 knots, sea 2 to 5 feet over the southeastern islands. Yeah, tides. You can expect a high tide at 8:07 this morning. Next low tide will be at 2:07 this afternoon. High gain this evening at 8:34. Sunset will be at 8:01 this evening, rising to at 6:27. UV index 9. Your water temperature 78 degrees Fahrenheit. Animal phase, no moon. Your external look. Pretty good weekend so weather-wise for independence celebrations. Partly sunny, hot, humid, hazy into Sunday. And then by Sunday evening, we start to enhance some showers and thunderstorms that at mid-top level trough moves in. The temperature daytime will be around the 90-degree mark, at nighttime in the mid-70s. That puts her up in your phone. Look at weather at sunrise. I'm Godfrey Burnside, wishing everybody a happy independence. Back to you, Phil.
Thank you very much, Godfrey. Well, you may have heard this week, new regulatory framework has been established to allow equity-based crowdfunding here in the Bahamas. Here to discuss this with us, back on Bahamas at Sunrise, D.R.C. Ramming, Jr., Chief Technology Officer, CTO of RWAC-X, true Bahamian, a nationalist, man, doing a new thing. D.R.C., congratulations.
Thank you, Simon, for having me on.
Yeah, congratulations. So we're talking crowdfunding, right?
Yes.
For those who have never heard about what this means, just break it down a little bit for us.
So crowdfunding is solving a very old problem and in a new way. So the problem is that businesses, as they are growing, they need money. And so that's on one side. And investors on the other side are looking for better returns for their money. And so what crowdfunding does is it brings these two groups of people together over the internet in a regulated space. Because as we know, the internet can be a strange place.
Very much so. It could be so many things, so many different people. But this past week, there were some changes in regulations that allow this to happen a little more seamlessly. Exactly what was it that the securities industry has now allowed us to do?
So it allows registered marketplaces such as RWAC-X to conduct this kind of business. So before, any crowdfunding that was happening was unregulated. So if you invested your money, you had no recourse. If you were a business person and you put your platform, put it up on a platform, you had no recourse. And so all regulation means is pulling that into the framework, the law, pulling this type of business and allowing it to happen, so that if God forbid when stuff goes wrong, you have the power of the courts, the power of the law to go after bad actors.
Yeah. So RWAC-X, this is what you do. I mean, it's not just is it just crowdfunding, or is it just a platform that allows investors and entrepreneurs to come together?
So that's essentially what equity crowdfunding is. Okay. We in finance like to use all these fancy terms to describe really basic stuff. It's a little bit more, the back end is, it's not just me at the firm. There's 20 of us right now, and there's going to be a few more joining us. So it takes a large team of people to make it happen seamlessly, but essentially it should be very, very easy for the businesses as well as the end users. That's how we add value to the process. We make sure that people are able to participate in the ownership structure of these companies for as little as $25. So that's kind of what it's all about, lowering the barriers to entry for the investors and the businesses.
Where do you see the greatest potential for this locally? We have, so many small and medium-sized enterprises. Is that like the target market? Is that where the great opportunity lies?
So we're focused on innovative, high-growth startups. And I'll make a slight distinction between a startup and a small business. A startup is a business that is designed with growth in mind. So there's a difference between you opening up a restaurant because you want to cook and you opening up a restaurant because you want to open up a chain of restaurants.
Right.
Very different things. So we're focused on the innovative startups. And as many people in this country know, they have these ideas that it's not just, a small idea that they want to do something. Sometimes it's, I want to take this idea as far as it can go, but you run always into that problem of finding capital. The banks won't lend you money, or sometimes even if they will lend you money, you don't have enough collateral to, you need $1 million, you only have your $200,000 house. How do you get that other $800,000? So that's where we fit in. We help to fill that gap.
Yeah, and that has been a huge gap here in our country.
Yes.
It's always been, the chicken and egg type of analogy. Do you see this now as a potential revolution per se in the whole fintech space?
Well, we hope so. That's why we're doing this. But no, for us, it's really about, before doing this and before this regulatory journey, we had worked as management consultants. So on our, so we have kind of like two lives. There's our business management consultant life, and then there's our public facing kind of sport life. But when you talk to business owners and you talk to the same kids that we were working with in Montel Heights, they had the same anxieties. Like they feel like they weren't able to participate in the wider society, weren't able to grow. And because that's all really it's about, is wherever you are in life, you want to end in a better place, and so we hope that Arawak X will be a tool for people to accomplish those goals.
Yeah. And for those who are listening and find this of interest, what's the next steps? How do they get more information?
arawakx.com. Go to arawakx.com. You can sign up on the website. We're in the process of also opening up some physical locations. So if you need to come in and talk to a real person, you can. We are very, very serious about customer service. And so, oftentimes, like if you write on Facebook or on Instagram, I will even be responding to some of those things to make sure you get sorted out, because we understand that technology is new and often it's scary. And so we want to make sure that people see it, touch it. Once you understand it, it becomes very intuitive.
Yeah, and customer service is should be certainly at the heart of anything that we do. DRC, thank you so much. Congratulations once again to you and the entire team there at Arawak X.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
arawakx.com.
arawakx.com. Happy Independence, man.
Happy Independence.
We'll be right back.
Doctors Hospital is proud to introduce the Loyalty Advantage Membership Program, or LAMP. LAMP offers medical service discounts to new and existing Doctors Hospital patients. With membership starting as low as $20 per month, LAMP benefits include fee waivers for insured patients, discounts on inpatient and outpatient services, access to free imaging services, and much more. For a full list of benefits or to sign up for LAMP, visit doctorshosp.com/LAMP. Doctors Hospital, trusted and best care now. Isn't your health worth it?
Since 1967, Freeport Oil Company Limited has been dedicated to fueling growth and prosperity in the Bahamas. We have been a constant pillar within the country, striving to invest and support our community through the best of times and the worst of times. For us, Full Call represents 21 years of strength and consistency, consistent leadership, consistent growth, consistent customer service. Through it all, we are resilient. Full Call, fueling growth for people.
First, it's more than just our name, more than just our achievements. It's our nature, and it's where we put our customers. At Bahamas First, we've refreshed our look, but our nature remains the same. We design insurance solutions that protect our customers from life's uncertainties, whatever they may be. We equip you for the future so that you can recover stronger. Bahamas First, what's first for you comes first for us.
At sunrise, the NACAC, that is the North American, Central American, and Caribbean Athletic Association, is planning its first athletics tour, featuring about 5 to 10 meets around the region in 2022. Here to talk with us about this, we're very happy to welcome Mike Sands. He's the president of the NACAC. Good morning, Mr. Sands, and welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise.
Good morning, Bahamas. Thanks for having me.
An absolute pleasure to have you with us. First, tell us about the new NACAC New Life Invitational that was held recently in Miramar, Florida.
Okay, you can just say NACAC, it's easier. The NACAC New Life Invitational was one of the beginning of our circuit that we intend to, as you earlier mentioned, around our area. Our athletes, and we recognize that there's been not sufficient competition for our area athletes. And so we at NACAC took the initiative to start our own circuit. The Miramar Invitational was a very successful event. We had some 200 athletes from, including all of our area, plus about 5 or 6 other invited athletes around from the other countries. And I'm pleased to say that with that meet, we had a lot of very, very fast time, including the fastest time in the world thus far for the 100 meters. So the athletes are very, very excited about it. And we're looking forward to continuing that event. The city of Miramar has been very, very cooperative, and they've asked us to take a look at creating a memorandum of understanding whereby we will continue working with them in meets of this kind that they're interested in having in their area as well.
Congratulations to have just your first one and it be so successful. Of course, this is exciting because you also have several goals for the athletics tour plan for next year. Talk to us about that big goal that you have with this plan.
Right, as we indicated earlier, with track and field, Europe has been the hotbed of competition. And if you look at it, a lot of our athletes, a lot of our area athletes, Stevie Gardner, Shelley Ann Fraser-Price, Shanae, a lot of our athletes in the area compete on the European circuit. And while it is not our intentions to compete with the circuit, we also felt that there was a need for more competition in our area. And it's been very, very much welcomed by our athletes, whereby they will compete on this side of the globe. And we're looking at maybe beginning as early as May to June that would complete our circuit. The meets will have points that would allow them to qualify through their rankings, as well as prize money, similar to what happens in Europe. And then once they're finished with our season here, they can go on to Europe and compete and continue their competition. The plus about our event also is the fact that while we may not get all of the top athletes consistently, it also opens the door for the second tier athletes that will also not necessarily have a lane in Europe. And so it's a win-win for everyone. And as I said, we are all very, very excited about the prospect of it happening. And we did the test with it in Miramar, Florida. And so that is what we're going to build on.
Do you think over time you'll end up having European athletes compete on the circuit as well?
Oh, I'm sure he will, because like I said, we actually did have a few that competed in our event, even though it was focused on our area athletes. We will not disenfranchise other athletes, but the focus will be on the area athletes and South America, Central America. Well, Central America is our members. South America is a part of our hemisphere, but not necessarily part of NACAC. But we're working with Pan Am Sports as well that would have done the live streaming. And so we're developing a partnership with them. And so at the end of the day, we're very, very excited about the fact that this is going to be as popular as the European circuit.
Okay. What's next? How do you see this series going long term? I mean, certainly a great vision there that these athletes will get to compete even before they get into Europe, both top tier athletes and second tier athletes who may not get the chance to compete in Europe. But what happens next in this process for you?
Well, what happens next is now that our Director of Competitions, along with the United States Track and Field Association, USATF, that's partnering with us, along with the Canadians, we're sitting down together and we're looking at all the schedules, because there are some meets that already exist that we will tag as a part of the circuit. So we cannot and we will not compete with existing meets. We will work the schedule together and mesh the schedule so that the circuit can actually be just that. So instead of conflicting or competing, we will work it whereby the athletes can move from one island or one city to the other. And so at the end of the day, we will have a unified competition. Say, for example, hypothetically, they can come into Nassau or the Cayman Islands or Jamaica, or Trinidad or Mexico. And so we can move around the circuit without much interruption and have some level of continuity. So that's the exciting part about this.
Excellent, excellent. Now, in terms of competing as an athlete, is this going to be invitation only? At the beginning phases, will it be open to all athletes? Is there a membership fee? How would an athlete actually get to compete on the NACAC circuit?
It's going to be by invitation only. We have, for example, that's what happened with the Miramar Invitational, and we are actually subscribed for all of our events. We have the list of all the agents and all the managers with the top athletes, and we extend invitations to them, and then we go by ranking. So obviously based on, this is why the point system is very, very important. So we go by the ranking system. Now the prize money is obviously dictated by World Athletics. If you decide that the event is going to be a bronze, silver, or gold level event, that the funding for that comes from the world body, and we have to distribute the funds in a specific way. So we are looking forward to that happening, and with the excitement and the cooperation of the member federations such as USATF, as I indicated, and the big ones like Canada as well. We're putting it all together. Yep.
Awesome. So now you mentioned bronze, gold, and silver, and of course we're getting ready for the Olympics. So how is NACAC represented at these Olympic Games? What are you expecting from your team there?
Well, you know, NACAC, we're proud to say that we have the best athletes in the world. And when I speak of NACAC, I'm talking about all of our athletes. And at the World Championships in 2019, the NACAC athletes accounted for 50% of the gold medals that were won at the championship. Doesn't include bronze, silver, or meet records or personal best. We also accounted for 7 world records in the juniors and the seniors. And so at the end of the day, we're hoping to build on that. And if you're following track and field, you will note that the NACAC area athletes are doing some amazing things. I mean, you see what Shelly Ann is doing, Shanae is doing, Elaine Thompson, Stevie Gardner, the Americans and all of them. So we had a world record already in the shot put in the USA Track and Field Trials. We had a world record in the 400 women's hurdle at USA Track and Field Trials. Those are our NACAC athletes that are going to take their performance to the world stage and to improve NACAC's brand, which is what we are attempting to do and continue to do.
Well, congratulations to you, Mr. Sands, on the successful event in Miramar. Congratulations on the athletes that are going to the Olympics. We're sure that those records will come back much as you've indicated, and on continuing to build the NACAC brand. Thank you for joining us this morning on Bahamas at Sunrise.
Thank you, and thanks for having me, and thanks for helping us build that brand. Thank you.
Indeed. You're watching Bahamas at Sunrise. We'll be right back.
Our world has changed. Many businesses have been closed for months, with little or no access to their customers until now. Rev Media can help you remain connected to your customers. Our trusted customized advertising packages and personalized consultants will provide your business with immeasurable support during this challenging time. Your customers are already watching. Rev Media can help you to remain connected. Call us today. Let us help you.
Well, folks, that's going to do it for us. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode of Bahamas at Sunrise. A very happy independence to all of you.
Happy Independence indeed. I want to send a special shout out, good morning to my mother. She had me there 48 years ago. I was just a little baby at the time, but I was there, Star. I was there.
You were there. You were there. I was not. Make it a great weekend, folks.
Enjoy. Be safe. Bye.